Hello everyone, and welcome to more on wrestling. I'm Vinnie, and I'm Spec, and today we're talking about our final thoughts on the WWE Draft. How far away are we?
We're a couple days away, 4 days I think.
Yeah.
We have a Monday Night Raw beforehand where we'll find out the general managers for each brand, and then Tuesday will be the draft, and it's a 2-hour draft.
A 2-hour draft. I thought they might go live 3 hours, at least for the first show.
First show, not making it 3 hour every week, but they have a lot of storyline to tell, and in a 2-hour draft they may only have time to pick 5 picks each, which doesn't leave a lot, and I don't see them doing that.
All right, let's talk about where we are. Where we are in wrestling is Vince McMahon just came out and he picked he started to say general manager, and it says this needs something bigger. We're going to make them the commissioner of Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
And where are we?
We have the commissioner of Raw is Stephanie, the commissioner of SmackDown is Shane.
They did that so well. Because that's exactly what we expected.
We predicted that on our draft.
And the whole show was about who's going to get SmackDown, and when Shane got it, it was great news. It wasn't Shane's getting the lower show.
Exactly. They did a great job of pumping it up to where you wanted to be SmackDown.
You wanted Shane.
And yeah, absolutely. You wanted Shane on SmackDown. Shane wanted SmackDown. Stephanie wanted to be SmackDown, and Shane got SmackDown. And then they turn it to, oh, by the way, Stephanie gets the flagship program. They still tell you this is the flagship program and Stephanie's involved, but we spent the whole show pumping up the other show, which they don't generally do.
I love how they handled it. And until he turned to Stephanie and said, you are the general manager of Raw, I still had the inkling. The commissioner of Raw. I still had the inkling they were going to go nuts and give it to Paul Heyman, give it to
Eric Bischoff.
Yes, They were still going to do something a little weird, and that would free Stephanie up to
take some time off of TV, spend with the kids, do behind-the-scenes work,
almost anything. But the line that that Vince, I wanted him to punch a little bit more, and it was understated for the whole thing. Was he said something along the lines of one of you may win the keys to the entire kingdom, meaning rip each other's gut.
Competition.
This is a competition. Yeah. I'm not going to be here forever.
I gave I did a video a little while back that commented when the whole thing with Shane and he lost, and then he was on Raw, and then he put them as co-commissioners. We had the pay-per-view where they were going to announce which one was the new GM, and he gave it to both. He said on that, I wanted to be a competition. I wanted to rip each other's guts out. And I was like, yeah, how are you going to do that on one show? I didn't understand that all it is that we finally get the payoff to that. They've dragged it out this long, but now he's turned it into that competition where they can.
Yes. I don't know what just happened, but I feel like her sound quality has gotten better.
It did. It feels like it improved.
I feel like the sound quality has improved.
Maybe the train left.
Maybe it was the train. Maybe it was the air conditioner. But we'll try to keep the sound quality up from here on out. Like this distant whooshing is gone, and now
I heard it in my ears, but I wasn't sure, and now it's cleared up.
Yeah, we may be sweating, but the sound quality will be better. Back to what we were talking about. Before the increased sound quality.
Right, we've just got the split. We now know who's on each show, and this coming Monday we'll be announcing the general managers.
Very interesting.
Now there has been some potential leaking.
There has?
And I know that I didn't mention it to you off camera.
No.
It's a surprise. Something went up on the WWE Network.
Possible spoiler.
It got pulled, and then now the internet is all in flames. I don't even know if you want to know who the SmackDown GM is.
And it's specific to SmackDown. Something went up on the WWE website and then was pulled. Was it the WWE website?
It was the WWE. Yeah, it was on WWE.com. It was an article, and part of the article had a comment. It had a section, a paragraph that was titled, and it's kind of spoiled, assuming that's. So I'm going to skip over it. We're going to just keep going. But we have general managers coming in.
Right.
Because I don't want to spoil it for you. But the people are watching.
I kind of want to know, but I don't want to know.
Well, the people that are watch internet videos.
You guys
already know.
You already know.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's only you that I'm keeping it from.
Okay. You know what it is. And in fact, well, you could go look it up now, probably.
You feel free to give us what you would do in the general manager situation here.
Okay.
You're Shane and Stephanie, which is weird. and you're picking a general manager for SmackDown and a general manager for Raw. How would you go?
Okay, there are a couple of fun things we could do. Vince McMahon made the statement that you guys need to pick somebody, or I will pick him for you. And I don't care if you break the law in this competition. I see Stephanie keeping Shane from the event, from Monday Night Raw, where they're supposed to announce it for some reason. She breaks the law, and Shane can't make it, and Vince gets to pick Shane's general manager.
That would be awesome.
And she goes ahead, she breaks the law, Shane doesn't make it, he's there for Tuesday, but he doesn't show up on Raw. And the whole story of Raw is he's trying to make it there, but he's in jail for murder.
Well, I don't know about it having to be that over
the
top.
Oh, you want to hear about this? No. I get to keep going after murder.
Okay, go ahead. Murder.
Okay, game on. There's only one game in this business, and he's my husband, and he's dead in your apartment. Triple H slain by... He's got the motive. The rest Stephanie could do. It's Shane is not making Raw, and Vince is picking his person for him.
I like that.
Yes,
but
with the murder, it's got to be a murder.
It doesn't have to be that far, especially since
it's gonna be like
Triple H has to not
international
die.
espionage.
Yeah.
Well, no. Shane gets cleared of all charges when he's alive.
Okay, that's fine. So,
as long as Stephanie doesn't get caught.
Maybe kidnapping, but
Kidnapping?
murder?
Petty theft.
All right.
It's going to be like a Three Musketeers bar in his back pocket.
Exactly.
Or something.
It's got to be
one way or another. He doesn't show up.
They have to. She hires people to beat him up. It's something. It doesn't. But we're going too far into how. And the thing is the why.
Yeah, the why.
So Vince picks the SmackDown general manager, and he picks.
Stephanie. She doesn't pick the game. He's there for more storyline. They want a day-to-day person so that Stephanie and Shane don't have to be there every week, and they can have their figurehead, and they can be there every once in a while.
Shane and Stephanie are essentially becoming Vince McMahon.
Yes,
they're going to be the ones that pop into the show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that Stephanie gets. I really like Kane. He showed up in the Battle Royal as Monster Kane after showing up on the Raw that I attended in Tampa to fight The Miz. I'm a big fan of Kane. I would not be sad if it wasn't Kane, but I want something more of a surprise. I want something more. I could see Stephanie going with Paul Heyman as bad guy Paul Heyman. Coming back in with Bad Night, but he is exclusively right now Brock Lesnar, who is coming back, possibly in a big way. Probably
he'll be on
summer.
SmackDown for the draft, so
yeah,
he will be here on the draft. If he shows up, if Paul Heyman shows up as Stephanie's manager, then Brock Lesnar, you have to assume, is the number one pick of Raw.
I like it.
So. I actually kind of had a very similar thing.
Oh, let me tell you who Vince is giving to Shane.
Ahead. Vince is giving to Shane.
As the general manager?
Mm-hmm. Someone that's going to be there every week. And
Yeah. I think we go comedy.
Okay.
I think he gives him an inept general manager instead of a strong bad guy. Instead of a strong opposing force,
he sides with Stephanie by kind of sticking it to
him by giving him the released Santino
Marella?
something along those lines.
Gotcha.
A general manager who is fighting to keep it together. If he wants to go vicious venom vendetta. Give him Guerrero and she can play the bad guy. Give him Vicky Guerrero and she can play She can play a bad guy against Shane and mess up everything he's working towards.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I would hope that they're not going to go that route.
The comedy.
I'd rather the comedy than opposing force. Yeah, because at least at the beginning. They're trying to turn this into the thing everyone wants to see. Mm-hmm. And so I think that a general manager everyone wants to see is going to be a better way to get that, even if you eventually change it. Even if they eventually change it, because I personally think the storyline, just like it's better to have a heel champion, a heel Money in the Bank winner. I think from a storyline perspective, it's better to have a heel general manager,
especially if you have a face commissioner.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, but even if there is no even if there is no commissioner, if a bad guy, a good guy loses the championship match, you don't want because of cheating, you don't want the good guy a GM going, well, that was cheating, give him another match.
People
makes
need
it
to
a net.
rebel against authority, and good guys need to have a challenge against
Exactly.
authority.
So it's better. So whereas from the initial outcome, I think that a face that people will pop for, if they're going to pull someone like a Vicky Guerrero or whatever, bringing a Mick Foley or something like that, that is something that people will be really excited about.
Now let's
and
get
then
out
we
of
can
my-
turn towards that.
Let's get out of my fantasy break the law challenge.
Okay.
Like she breaks the law and he doesn't make it, because I think that with Shane, with the promise of wait till you see my show, new lighting, new rules, new this, new that, it's going to be a completely different look. I think he's going to do all that, and I'm very excited about it. But in that vein of tune in next week, he picks a general manager that we are excited to see.
Exactly.
That's the roller coaster they're on. They could get a lot with this, and your general manager is Triple H. Now you tune in to see that too. Shane's general manager is Triple H. They're not going to go that far.
Right.
But that's also got its entertainment value. But I think they're going to go with the big tune in and see when this person takes over as general manager.
Exactly. This person, you're going to want to see this person. And if it's Vicky Guerrero, people are going to be like, well, we've done that. Don't bring me Teddy Long or John Laurinaitis. I think it is something else. Now, what I agreed with you on the whole I will pick the manager thing.
Yeah.
So I went the other route.
Go ahead, tell me.
I thought, let's just say, and I had other people in mind, like maybe Paul Heyman with his face for Shane McMahon, and then the leak, I say, okay, that works too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stephanie comes and says, oh, well, Daddy, thinking she can get away with it, I'm this and that, I haven't quite agreed to... Shane has already released a Twitter thing that says, I have agreed to terms with the SmackDown general manager, so that's already been done. I feel like she goes, I'll take care of it, Daddy. And he goes, nope. Boom. There's your general manager. I told you to have one. You didn't do it.
She says, I'm going to have one by tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and he said, no, I gave you a deadline today, and your general manager is
I love
now.
that too.
So that's how I feel like it. She thinks
like
she can get away.
Because of Daddy.
Come
Daddy's
on,
little
Daddy. Girl. Exactly. I like that better. You can still get the face on SmackDown, and then you can get, and it can be an opposing force heel. Now, the rumors, and we said it earlier, was Eric Bischoff, but he's denied that, and now he's signed to do something else, so probably not going to be. But if he then says, your general manager is Eric Bischoff, and she hates Eric Bischoff, but they're both heels, and that creates a great dynamic on Raw, something more along those lines. That's how I would do it.
Okay. We have a 2-hour SmackDown coming up. Now, in this 2-hour SmackDown, how many votes how many draft picks do they get in? 5 each? That's 10. They don't get 10. They don't get 10 draft picks in.
Well, you got to look, because what you're saying is it's a 2-hour show. They didn't expand it, and it is a wrestling show, so there has to be some wrestling matches.
Yeah,
you have to assume it's at least 3 wrestling matches. If not,
and besides the wrestling matches, we have a pay-per-view coming up.
Exactly.
This is the last show before the pay-per-view.
Exactly. We're going into a pay-per-view with the brand split happening the day before it, and most of it is going to be spent on the draft. No build-up.
Not no build-up. They
have to. That's what. That's the point I was making. Was if there's no build-up to make picks, we lose a whole show. So
we don't have time for a draft.
Well,
on this SmackDown.
And the problem is they have to do at least 10 picks each.
They can't. How do they do it? Why do they have to have 10 picks each?
They have to do at least 10 picks each, and here's why. Let's go to 5 picks each, all right? 10 picks total, 5 picks each.
All right, so you mean Raw and SmackDown 5 picks each?
Each get 5 picks, and then they decide to do the rest on the network, okay? If that's the case, how many women get picked?
On the show in those 5 picks?
On the show, how many women get picked?
1 each? I mean, 1 each
You
in those
have to
5?
do at least 1. You can't neglect the women's division at all.
On the show, you can't,
So
right?
1 gets picked. and
one each,
possibly
probably,
2,
because Charlotte gets picked,
and then
somebody to push.
Exactly, you do 1 each. Well, now you're down
you
to
really
only.
Want to do 2 each. You want to get
some more women in there,
okay.
At least.
All right.
And then you have 4 men left to pick. So you might say, okay, the top 8 guys and 2 women, that's fine. Except, how many NXTers are going to get picked?
Wow, definitely 1
At
each.
least 1, probably 2,
Probably
but at
2.
least 1 is going.
Because if you bring somebody up from NXT, you need something big, and being picked at the top of the draft gets you known, like Baron Corbin winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
These people, there's going to be, if the rumors are true and they bring in, let's say 7, that's somewhere right in the middle of what people are saying. This is an overflow.
7 from NXT?
From NXT.
Well, see, that's what I'm expecting as well.
Right. And if that's what happens, think about Apollo Crews, who didn't get that Battle Royal.
Right.
He's one of their top mid-carders, or, mid-card guys fighting with Sheamus and all. But all he did was beat the Social Outcast for a couple months. No one really knows or cares.
Yeah. He had the spectacle of what that big guy could do in a match to win the audience over.
But add 7 people to the roster and having 7 Apollo Crews at the same time.
To somebody who doesn't watch NXT,
So you got to give them that boost of being drafted on the show.
Okay.
So let's just go with 1. Let's pretend they only do 1.
Right.
That leaves us with 7 of the top guys. That 7 of the top guys aren't bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many tag teams are going to get broken up?
They've been pushing this. The tag teams are going to get broken up. I'm saying 2 tag teams get broken up on SmackDown is what I'm expecting. At least that we see 2 tag teams that we go, oh my goodness, the Usos are not together anymore. I'm convinced the Usos are split.
That would be cool.
Because I think that 3 weeks from today, everyone in America knows the difference between Jimmy and Jey Uso, and one of them gets a haircut. I'm going so far as saying one of them gets a haircut.
They get one of them's using a different type of tights, and goes a
completely
overhaul.
brand these 2 guys, and all of a sudden you've got 2 serious
They
characters.
could go as far as leaving whichever one keeps the tights and the hair as Jimmy Uso, and the other one that gets the haircut and changes it is
could
just
be Roman
Jey.
Reigns like that.
Right. They could just change it and lose the Uso,
Mm-hmm.
and so that But so you're saying 2, which means 4 people, which means there's only 3. So the draft is going to be the draft is going to be John Cena, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and then those.
Okay, I understand that the way I explain it, it doesn't make any sense. But okay, so let's take this back. Let's say that they're going to do. How many do you think they're going to do?
They've got to do a minimum of 10 each, 20 people.
Okay,
and even that,
I agree. I agree. They should do it. Let's add a 3rd hour.
No, you can't add a 3rd hour.
Exactly.
Okay, we can't add a 3rd hour. What do we do now? You got to have some rapid fire picks somehow.
And I feel like the rapid fire picks come in at the tag team split up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Enzo Amore. Well, I'm taking Big Cash. You can't
Boom,
have them.
boom,
boom,
boom.
boom.
And
Get stuff out of the way.
that way they can even make some mistakes. And the announcers could say, how is he picking Enzo over Kevin Owens? It's still out there, but they can make some mistakes.
Oh, you
and
just pick this. Let me boom, and then let me pick your partner to screw you.
And finally, Brock Lesnar gets picked 8th.
Exactly. So there are things they can do to rapid fire different things. It's like, especially if Shane's picking before Stephanie, and it doesn't mean that I don't mean that Shane has to pick first. Stephanie picks first, and then that means Shane's picking even numbers. On number 4, Shane can pick the first of a tag team, and Stephanie, to spite her brother, even though there are better people on the board, picks the other member to screw him over.
Okay.
It could be done rapid fire to speed up the process. But that they have to go with at least 10 to
You know
get
what
some
else
of
I
that
think
flavor.
they're going to do?
Okay.
I think that they're going to add some games to the draft that we haven't considered yet, like the matches affect the pick. The matches affect the draft. If Stephanie's number 1 pick versus, well, these are going to be the biggest guys. That'll be the biggest match in the world. But if they put 2 picks against each other and 2 5-person teams, and the winner of that 5-person team goes to Raw, and the loser of that 5-person team goes to this, or something, or they each get to pick a team, and they get those 5, or so they're going to play a game with these matches somehow.
Yeah, I can
which
see
is
that.
going to expedite things.
I was trying to say I had an off-camera discussion with someone, and we were talking about this kind of a draft versus what you would do in a fantasy football draft, where we're going to draft and you get the first pick, and that doesn't seem very fair to me because I get the second pick, but then you get the third pick. So in fantasy football, they do this snake thing where you get the first, but then I get the second, third before you get the fourth, and then the fifth, helping balance. Now I don't think they're going to do that, but the conversation that came up was, what if every round there was a match to see who gets to pick first this round? A match happens.
That's a lot of matches.
And not necessarily every round, but sometimes throughout, it's like, okay, your number 2 guy versus your number 2 guy, go have a match. SmackDown 1, SmackDown you pick, and then Raw picks.
You know what the other thing they didn't do that absolutely should have been done?
What?
The 2-hour continuation of the draft on the WWE Network when SmackDown's over.
They are doing a half an hour before SmackDown on the network as a pre, and they are doing more after the network.
Okay, they are doing that.
It has been announced. I don't know if it's a specific time. I don't know if it's the full draft. If they're smart, they continue all, and we did 80, but they do all 80 picks or whatever they're going to do on the network and make it a full event.
If the draft hasn't happened yet, you can go to WWE.com and they have a thing on there where you can pick the draft, which I thought was very smart because they're tapping into that. It's not done well.
It's not done well at all.
But they're still tapping into that football draft mentality of people who like to play those games. We like to play those games.
I love to play those games. Yeah.
But in that after show, that football mentality will watch the entire football draft without any football games going on.
Absolutely.
And they could have the last draft they did several years ago. A lot was done on the website as a list.
Right, and it would just pop up as a list every once in a while. A new name would, or they'd add 4 names at a time. But yeah,
and that could be done on the WWE Network in ways that never could be done before.
Exactly, and honestly, they could tell the talent, guys, we're filming a 5-hour show tonight. This is what we're doing, and when it goes off the air, we're gonna continue.
We're in studio.
And honestly, they can get let the talent go home. It would just be Shane and his GM and Stephanie and her GM in
a
studio.
Moderator, maybe.
Yeah, a moderator and
JBL.
That works.
I like JBL as a moderator for this.
Yeah,
I like JBL as
but
I also like JBL as a commentator on the side over speaking, going, "Well, that was a mistake." I'm really enjoying JBL, but that's another video. Okay, well, our final thoughts on the draft. It's going to happen in a couple of days. What haven't we addressed yet? I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
Everybody is throwing around the same 4 or 5 names as the number 1 draft pick. I start looking at draft picks 1, 2, and 3. There's going to be one reach, one surprise in those first 6 draft picks. What I want to talk about is what people are in the top 6.
Okay.
And what possible 1 names get dropped in. So maybe a top 5. And a selection for who this top name might be, this top surprise underdog.
Okay.
First of all, let's do this.
Yeah.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Is going within the first 6.
Absolutely, will be on in the first 6.
I believe Randy Orton was brought back. He's fighting Brock Lesnar. He needs a pop that is bigger than his return to fight Brock Lesnar.
Okay, and even if the fans don't see him as a top 6 guy, the WWE has to pretend he is to be in the main event of SummerSlam
against Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Even though he's returning, he needs another pop. And
I see that.
I think that he might be in one of the top 6. You throw out a couple for the top 6.
Seth Rollins is absolutely a top 6 guy.
I think Seth Rollins is too, and I think that Stephanie's got her designs on him.
Right, and I think that the fact that Dean Ambrose is holding the belt at the time of the draft, he has to be considered
We're
a top
up
6
to
guy.
4 of 6. Do we keep Ambrose in the... do we keep Randy Orton? I don't want to shove him down your throat, but I think he goes in the top 6.
I have to agree with what you're saying.
We're already 4 in. We've
now,
only got
here's
one
the thing.
more.
When I think of it, and here's the thing. When I think of it from a list of 1 to 6, I can see him up there. When I think of it as 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. I have real trouble saying he's going to be a top 3 pick on someone's board.
Does somebody pick Brock Lesnar?
Oh, that's so hard to say.
Because storyline mode, somebody wants him. Reality mode, we already talked. If he shows up for 3 months, he'll fight whoever the heck he wants to fight. Doesn't matter where they are.
Exactly.
If Randy Orton's on Raw, if Randy Orton's on SmackDown, and they want this match, Brock is fighting him no matter which show they're on.
Not to mention that he won at UFC.
He did
so
win.
He won, which means that he's going to go fight some more at UFC.
Yeah.
That causes issues.
That happens.
And then this week, he gets attacked for doping charges.
What happened?
I don't know the exact things, but now the Gaming Commission is with him. I really need to look into this. I only saw headlines, and I said I don't even want to read that. I don't want to know. But apparently, now the Gaming Commission says that his failed test. They're going after him for his failed test in some way. Mark Hunt said he's a cheater, and if this comes, he's not been suspended that we know of. If he shows up on SmackDown Tuesday, which he's reported to be there, they're just going to ignore it until it's an issue. But if it becomes an issue, do you really put him in the top 3?
You could suspend Brock for a month and nobody would notice.
Right.
Okay, you can do that.
But with SummerSlam coming up,
yeah. They have to suspend. They said, well, we suspend you last month.
Yeah.
When you weren't here anyway. But this is all in reference to UFC.
Right.
Okay, so he has time to. No, I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Right. If this happens, he will get if this is his first offense, I'd have to look into that too. He's getting 60 days, and if it's not, then I think it's 90 days.
An idea occurred to me, and I'm completely left turning this. Is Roman Reigns, is his suspension over Tuesday or Sunday? For the draft or for the pay-per-view?
It is Saturday, so Sunday would be his first appearance of real WWE.
Because
at least it was when it was announced.
I want him out of the triple threat match.
And
I'm a Roman Reigns fan. More than most of our audiences. I'm a Roman Reigns fan, and I want him out of the match.
I agree.
Why are they... Now, they have taken a storyline, and they push it, and they push it, and push it. Something happens. They drop the entire storyline, and they do something else. With this, something happened. They did not drop the storyline. Why didn't they drop the storyline? They're pumping a match without him there.
What I believe is because the rumor has it now is that Vince is starting to sour on Roman Reigns.
I believe that.
But I feel like when it happened, they had him drop the belt and do all that and suspended him, and Vince wasn't quite sour yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to make the triple threat. And now that he's soured, he's like, well, I've already made it. It's kind of weird to change it now. We'll just have him. I would not be surprised if Roman Reigns is the person that gets pinned in the match. Whether it be Dean Ambrose does the dirty deeds and then Seth Rollins throws him out and pins Roman Reigns for the title.
Yeah.
Or if even the reverse happens where Seth Rollins... But I believe Roman Reigns is going to take the pin.
I want to use my godlike power here. And I want to go back in time a little bit. I want to make this not a triple threat match. I want to suspend Roman Reigns for 30 days and have him disappear out of the consciousness of people for 30 days. Have him show up at the pay-per-view for a one-on-one match between Dean Ambrose and the man who never lost, and have shenanigans in the final match of the night as Roman Reigns turns heel, and
screws Dean Ambrose? Because that's the thing.
Well, Dean Ambrose is going to win.
Hard.
It is hard.
That's
but anyway,
what's so hard with that storyline.
You know what? I could turn him heel and have Dean Ambrose still win. Have Dean Ambrose overcome even that.
Well, that's what my point is.
And he's got. I'm sorry.
I don't see from a storyline where that makes sense. That's my problem. He comes down with Seth, who he hates. And Dean, who's his brother, and he could be mad at, fine, but why does he screw over, even if you give it to Rollins, let's say he turns heel and screws Dean and gives it to Rollins, why does he screw Dean to help Rollins?
He doesn't. He shows up, okay, let me lay this out for you.
Okay.
He shows up in the middle of the match that nobody's expecting, and he attacks Dean Ambrose during the match. It's my time, I'm back. Seth Rollins starts fighting him. He fights Seth Rollins. He fights Dean Ambrose. He fights everybody. He does a Stone Cold while the audience is not going to get behind him.
Yeah.
And that makes him a bad guy.
Right.
Then they come out. Shane comes out and says, it is now a triple threat match. The Shield fighting at the pay-per-view. And makes that happen at the pay-per-view. And the match ends within 40 seconds with Dean Ambrose pinning Roman Reigns. And he's a bad guy. They don't pump it as the Shield for a month.
It would have been nice. I personally wanted them to go one-on-one and then save this. I know that there's a chance, and I think there's a good chance that they split up the Shield, 2-on-1 show, one on another. But I would have liked them to find a way to bring it back and do the triple threat at WrestleMania, or at least SummerSlam.
If they split up the Shield, then you push the storyline through.
Yeah.
You have the Shield finally fight one-on-one. The Shield breaks up, and then you split them up and let them start developing anti-Shield, not Shield storylines.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think that's why it's pushed through.
Okay.
I really think one of them will be on SmackDown and two will be on Raw.
So, back to our original discussion.
Yeah.
Is Roman Reigns one of those top 6?
No. He will not be a top 3 pick. Because that's what you're saying, is someone is going to pick them in his top 3.
Yeah, that's why I brought this whole thing up.
Yeah. No. Someone will not pick Roman Reigns as their top 3 pick.
All right, let me just push your buttons. They pick Kevin Owens over Roman Reigns. Do you think Kevin Owens goes in the top 6?
They do.
See, now I want Kevin Owens in the top 6, and I don't want him to be the Reach. He's not the Reach. I still want there to be a Reach.
Right, I agree. I think that there is a handful of names that need to be picked over Roman Reigns just for punishment aspect. Both the other Shield members, John Cena, AJ Styles, Roman.
AJ Styles we haven't talked about.
We haven't talked about AJ Styles.
AJ Styles, I'll give you a top 6 for AJ Styles, too.
AJ is absolutely top 6. So when you say John Cena, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, we're already at 4. And then if Randy Orton is that 5th, which I'm a little worried about.
Right, and I'm not so sure on that anymore, because there's so many big names. Let's say they don't do Undertaker in the top 6. They don't do Brock Lesnar in the top 6.
That's fair.
And there is a possibility that Charlotte goes in the top 6.
There is. I can see that. I
I
see
think
after
Charlotte
those
might
5 we named, Rollins, Ambrose, Cena, AJ, and
Owens.
And
let's
did I
make
say
Owens be the Reach.
Rollins, Ambrose.
Orton.
No, there was someone else.
Rollins,
Ambrose, Cena, AJ.
AJ.
I felt like there was one more. Oh, it was Randy and
Orton.
okay, yeah. So, say Owens and Charlotte are the 6.
Charlotte. And that's an amazing reach. There's the Reach almost.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the title
then
is
again,
what makes her the Reach.
We're making the
see
6.
the reaches are going to be Miz is going to be a Reach. It's not going to be in the top 6, but Miz is going to be a Reach because he's holding the title,
and he's going to go before some of these bigger names.
Exactly. Charlotte's going to go because she's holding the title.
Now, we're talking about how many picks there are going to be.
Right.
And we talked about how many are going to be from NXT, how many tag teams are going to be split up, and
all
how many
champions have to be picked,
and also how many women are going to be. All these different things that need to happen. What about returns?
That's another
this
thing.
person returning to the WWE. We know that we're going to get some surprises.
Yeah.
They're going to be in there too.
Yeah. They really should be going.
It needs to be a 3-hour show.
It really needs to be a 3-hour show.
If there was no wrestling, it needs to be a 3-hour show.
Tell us that.
Because we're excited about this draft. Everyone in the world is excited.
Kurt Angle is returning to SmackDown, and you found that out by watching the 3rd hour on the WWE Network. People are going to be flipping tables.
Yeah, I'll flip a table.
Yeah, so... but no, I'm just saying, they all the titles have to... And I guess, in theory, you could draft The Miz after on the network, but...
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
So, final thoughts on our Final Thoughts video. And that's going to be a prediction of how many picks they're going to do on the draft. I said, if they do 5 each, and
we didn't give our Reach.
Well, we had I said Kevin Owens, but I don't want him to be my reach.
I don't think he's a reach though.
Because
I think everyone we named is not. Everyone we named, even the ones we said aren't going to be picked. None of those are
go
reaches.
to 8 because we can't do a 6-path draft show.
Okay.
Let's go to 8 and add 2 more so we can get our Charlotte and our reach. So now we put Charlotte as 7 and our reach as 8, and we've opened up one other slot for one other person.
Okay. I've got mine. You got yours?
My other person?
Yeah, your reach.
Not even my reach.
Oh, you want an 8th? Okay. Well,
we also have another superstar to put in there, and that might be the Miz.
I would think Rusev would be above the Miz.
Rusev is a great one. Let's talk about our reach.
Okay. I was going to say, if the 8 go, it's going to be those 7 and a reach.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this person theoretically should be picked under Rusev, under Brock, under Undertaker, under Randy Orton. These are all people that could fill that 8th spot. We've already discussed that. Who is the reach that actually takes the 8th spot?
I'm not ready with an answer.
All right. Well, for me, and this we talked about a little off camera. If I was writing this story thing, if I was the one writing it, this would be the number 1 pick, and I have a whole story for it. But you're looking for going into the future and who's going to be the future of the brand, and you want to, and Shane picking it as a
you like KO?
I love KO, and if I was picking it as a non-story, KO would be my first pick.
Okay, go ahead.
If I'm writing for the brand, I want to make sure I'm writing for Kevin Owens. He's the best heel in the company right now.
Kevin Owens. Let's get back to that. We're gonna do it. Let's do a whole cast on Kevin Owens.
Okay, that's
we'll do a
fine.
whole show on
we'll
Kevin Owens.
do a whole show on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, the best heel in the company.
Did you see Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho and the scarf?
Absolutely, which we'll talk about on the Kevin Owens.
On the Kevin Owens one with the money.
So that would be my pick if I wasn't the storyline GM. But if I'm the storyline editor, if I'm Shane McMahon as a face, picking who's going to be the face of my company going forward, I can't pick a heel, Kevin Owens, to do that. It's got to be a face. This is what I'm bringing you. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to do it as John Cena. Dean Ambrose would be the other one, but that's too obvious, and I don't want to build a brand around Dean Ambrose. If I'm picking the number 1 pick, shocks people, and makes this thing really tell people what I'm going for and how we're going to make it different, and the reach that could go in it, Sami Zayn is the number 1 pick of the draft. Sami Zayn. Now, that's not saying that Sami Zayn is going to be a world champion right away. But 10 years from now, how many world champions is he going to hold compared to AJ Styles, who's already 39?
Yeah.
You know, how is he going to compare to the other faces? Because the other options are things like Cesaro.
Cesaro's a reach who's excellent.
But they're not going to put it on Cesaro. They're not going to put their backing behind Cesaro. They will put it behind Sami Zayn.
Well, Sami Zayn could use that mega push. Without
and then he could follow right with a Kevin Owens pick.
Yeah.
And then they keep that storyline for years to come. But
okay, so my reach into the depths of WWE to pull somebody out and make him the I'm gonna combine a couple of things. I'm gonna make a reach and break up a tag team. I'm gonna get 2 things done in 1 pick.
Big Kaz.
I think they're splitting up Enzo and Cass. And I think that they have Enzo as an entertaining fella and Cass as a world champion. Cass as a contender.
You're calling an APA here. Kaz is JBL and
I think Enzo
walking around going, damn.
I think Enzo is going to be gosh darn entertaining for the next 5 years, and I think that and as much as I like to listen to Enzo more than Kaz, Kaz is doing it for me, and I think that Kaz or Baron Corbin, both of them I have the same storyline plan for, and you plug either one in, and I think Kaz or Baron Corbin as my unseen reach that people don't see coming.
I could see that towards the bottom of the. I don't see him making it up in the top 8. 6.
I've expanded to 8.
Maybe the 8th pick. I can see that. Yeah, and like I said, if we're going with a 10 on both sides, That would be pick 4. That would start the rapid fire because Enzo could theoretically get picked next. I mean, it could happen.
All right. And finally, our last thing we're going to do at the end of the day, how many picks do you think they do on the draft? Because I said 5 each was too much, and they don't have time for 10. I've now rethought that with all of your input of what has to happen.
I think that's what I think it's 10 each. I don't think that they have time to put any more than that, and I don't think that they don't have a show without that much.
All right, you know what? I want to go even higher than that, but I think you're right. I'm going to go 10 each, unless they do an 8-on-8 tag team and somebody gets those 8.
Right.
If they manage to get, and they're not picks 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They're picks whatever, but they get added on as these guys get to go.
If
not
they go
outside of the draft.
and they say the team is Zack Ryder, Big Show, Kane. And all those people that were in the we just added
and that allows you to get bigger picks at the end of the show. So the finale of the show isn't. And in my 10th pick, I picked Zack Ryder. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Applaud for the end of the show.
But the thing is, what you're going to get is the end of the show is my 10th pick is this returning
Kurt Angle.
Right, this returning wrestler. This wrestler coming back from injury is going to.
Piper.
Yeah, exactly. Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper's.
Guys, my name's Vinny.
And I'm Spec.
Thanks for watching more on wrestling. Next, we are going to do more videos, so check them out too.
All right. Like and comment.
Which brand? I guess you're right.
So
maybe not even
a top 5, but
excuse me. You don't want to cut that out?
If you can, if not, leave it.
Bring up somebody from the draft and you bring them up.